Aftermath. There is a deafening silence following the conflict. Each short breath feels like a battle, and I can hear my own heartbeat thudding rapidly in my ears. My surroundings have become strangely still. The forest itself seemed to be holding its breath, waiting for something to happen, as there were no further cries or growls. A few feet away, Bennett's body is sprawled awkwardly on the ground, unconscious. The ground underneath him is thick and dark with blood streaks. I can't bear to stare at him for very long. I should feel relieved to see him defeated, but instead I feel a nagging, hollow anxiety. Greta is crushed under me, breathing heavily and her chest rising and falling as her wild eyes glare up at me with barely contained anger. Since I took her down, she hasn't spoken, but that doesn't mean she's given up. This isn't over, based on the expression in her eyes, by no means. I ought to feel triumphant. Didn't we win? Greta is down, Bennett is down, and the immediate threat is gone for the time being. However, I feel a deepening pit of dread in my stomach rather than relief. Still, something is off. I can't quite place it, but there's a tense, anxious feeling in the air. The woodland is too silent, too still. The globe seems to be holding its breath in anticipation of the next strike. I glance up, taking in the trees, the shadows, and the shadowed corners of the area where the altercation occurred. Something is approaching, and I can't get rid of the tingling sensation in my skin. In the pit of my stomach, I sense it. I hear footsteps coming up behind me before I can think about the sense of impending peril for too long. I turn in time to see Callum approaching me, his face broken and wounded but still alive. His feet are deliberate and slow, and his shoulders are stiff. But when his eyes find mine, they soften. "Aurora," he murmurs, his voice full of passion. I apologize. I'm surprised at the words. Apologies? He has never spoken to me in such a manner before. I look for any indication that this could be a ruse or a means of controlling me, but all I see is regret, and something more profound, akin to guilt. He takes a step toward me and stops a few inches from where I'm crouching over Greta. His voice is raw as he says, "I should have believed you. I ought to have trusted you right away. I was too distracted by everything else and too blind." I want to reassure him that everything is fine and that I can see why he had doubts about me, but the words are stuck in my throat. I don't know if it's actually acceptable. Instead of believing in me, he chooses to believe in Bennett and Greta. And I'm not sure how to feel now that everything has transpired. With a voice that is almost audible above a whisper, I add, "You should have." Sugarcoating it is pointless. He made a decision that nearly cost us everything. His countenance tightens as his jaw tightens and he briefly averts his gaze. I understand. He admits that he made a mistake. He looks at Bennett's unconscious body. I didn't realize how much I was losing in the process, but I thought I was doing what was best for the pack. His voice has a vulnerability that I have never heard before, and it makes me feel something. A part of me wants to believe him in spite of everything, the agony, the lies, the betrayal, to have faith in his sincere apologies and our ability to resolve this. However, a deep, menacing growl breaks the silence before I can react, before I can even start to sort through the jumbled mix of emotions in my chest. The sound makes my whole body tense, and I turn my head in the direction of the trees. The growl is deep, guttural, and loaded with malice. The eerie silence of the woodland is disturbed by the distinct sound of danger lurking just out of sight, and my heart jumps into my throat. "Have you heard it?" I speak in a tight, terrified whisper. As he approaches me, Callum's face grows serious as he looks over the tree line. His voice is strained as he says, "I heard it." "Remain near." Greta laughs softly and without amusement, still imprisoned beneath me. "Didn't you think this was over?" Her voice brims with hate as she sneers. "You don't know what's going to happen." I feel a knot in my stomach from fear. Suddenly, as Greta's words replay in my mind, I see that this was never just about her or Bennett. There's more. Something larger, a fresh danger lurking in the background, poised to attack when we're most vulnerable. Callum moves ahead of me, his eyes darting throughout the shadows, his body stiff and alert. He says in a quiet, hurried voice, "Get ready. Whatever that is, it's approaching quickly." My pulse is pounding as the growling gets closer and louder. With my muscles wailing in protest, I clamber to my feet and move away from Greta to stand behind Callum. Even though my hands are shaking, I make myself remain composed. Right now, I can't afford to panic. The rustling of leaves and snapping branches fills the air, drowning out Greta's laughing. Whatever comes next, it will be huge. And you're not alone. My breath catches in my chest as I look at Callum. How are we going to proceed? He looks at the shadows in front of him and doesn't respond straight away. His muscles are tense with strain, and his jaw is clenched. At last, he looks at me, his face serious. We fight, he says. We battle together. His words weigh heavily on me, and I come to the realization that we are now in this together. In spite of everything, the doubt, the hurt, the betrayal, we will confront whatever comes next together. I inhale deeply, bracing myself for what lies next. Now the snarling is nearer, almost upon us. Even though I can feel the weight of impending disaster bearing down on me, I'm not going to let fear win. Callum stiffens beside me, anticipating what will happen next, and I realize with a sickening sense that this war is far from over as soon as the first black form appears from the trees. With its enormous body casting a shadow over everything and eyes that sparkle in the low light, the new menace enters the clearing. As more beasts emerge from the jungle, their growls filling the air, their gaze fixed on us, I can feel the ground trembling beneath my feet. I can hear Greta laughing, and I'm positive that whatever this is, it's worse than anything we've ever encountered. My breath comes in short, shallow gasps, and my pulse is pounding. This is not what we're prepared for. We're not prepared for the next step. And I can't help but wonder if we'll make it this time around as the beasts get closer. Unlikely comfort. Sitting near the crackling fire, the night air hurts my skin. The chill that lingers in the pit of my stomach is not much soothed by the warmth of the flames. I still feel the weight of the war. Every ache and bruise serves as a reminder of how nearly we lost everything. My body is still humming from the adrenaline that hasn't totally worn off, and my muscles feel rigid. I peek at Callum, who is seated across from me, his features dancing in the firelight. He appears to be as shaken as I am. I can clearly out the faint pattern of bruises emerging over his jaw, and his clothing are tattered and filthy. Since the fight ended, he has sat there pondering and staring into the fire without saying anything. Then his eyes engage mine, as though he senses my gaze. For the first time in days, they become softer, with that comforting warmth returning, and a glimmer of the Callum I knew before everything went wrong. The gleam of emotion surprised me. "I should have trusted you from the beginning," he continues in a tired, subdued voice. Those words convey an apology and a vulnerability I haven't heard from him before. The world seemed to settle down for a moment when his eyes contact mine. The words get stuck in my throat when I try to say something. I've been waiting a long time for him to say those words and admit what I've known all along, that I wasn't a pawn in his plot and that I wasn't misled. But I'm not sure how to react now that he's finally saying it. There is a part of me that wants to retain the wall around my heart, to keep the anger alive, to remind him of the agony he inflicted by not believing in me when I most needed him. I ought to be upset. I want to feel upset. Instead, his remarks dismantle the barricades I've established, one by one. My voice is almost audible over the raging fire as I mutter, "I just wish you had believed in me." The hurt is still raw and new, and the words come out kinder than I meant. Callum's visage shifts, his forehead furrowing in guilt. I stare down at the fire, the flames jumping and flickering in the frigid night air, and say, "You've always protected me. However, I needed your trust, always, not simply when it's convenient for you." The weight of everything unsaid remains in the air as our silence grows heavier. I feel vulnerable and exposed, as though I've divulged pieces of myself to him that I wasn't yet ready to reveal. However, I've been trying to be tough and manage things by myself for a long time, and now I'm just fatigued. "I do now," Callum states in a low but forceful voice. I detect a difference in his eyes when I glance up at him. He has a degree of resolve that I have never seen in him before. Aurora, more than ever. I can't take back the fact that I committed a mistake. However, I promise you that I now have faith in you. I sense a warmth that I didn't anticipate when he speaks. However, that warmth is coupled by the constant concern that I might become even more broken if I ever trust him again. I've realized the hard way that trust is brittle and prone to fracturing, and it's very impossible to rebuild once it's gone. I place my arms around my knees and raise them up to my chest. I concede it's difficult to just forget everything that's happened. The thoughts of all the times Dad doubted me and all the times he picked Bennett weigh hard on my heart. "I understand," Callum murmurs, "but I'm pleading with you to give me another chance." I don't respond immediately. Between the part of me that wants to let him in and the part that is frightened of getting wounded again, my mind is racing. Unsure of what to say, I glance at him with my heart rushing in my chest. He seems bent on proving himself to me because of his steady, uncompromising glance. He extends out over the distance between us gently, almost gingerly. I get a chill when his fingers touch mine, not from the cold, but rather from the warmth that exudes from his touch. For a brief moment, his hand hovers there, anxiously expecting acceptance. I haven't let down the barricades I've so methodically created to be vulnerable around him in such a long time. I can't help but soften a little in this moment, though, with the fire burning between us and the conflict so fresh in my thoughts. He murmurs gently, just above a whisper, "I'll always protect you, Aurora. I promise that even though I've made mistakes, I won't let you down again." Some of the anguish in my chest is soothed by his words, which engulf me like a blanket. He touches me lightly, almost unwillingly, as though he's worried that I'll draw away. However, I don't. Rather, I find myself leaning into it, allowing the warmth of his flesh to erase the night's remaining chill. With our fingers now entirely connected, I glance up at him and softly whisper, "I want to believe you." His eyes hold a spark of hope, and for the first time in what seems like an eternity, I allow myself to consider that perhaps, just possibly, things can improve. Something changes in the corner of my eye before I can say anything more or before the situation grows more severe. Outside the window, just out of the firelight's reach, a shadow changes. My body tenses suddenly as my breath catches, and I pull my hand from Callum's. The fire's warmth seems to be growing farther away, and the air around us seems to get colder. "Have you noticed that?" My voice is hardly heard as I whisper. Callum follows my eyes, his whole body morphing from relaxed to attentive in a split second. His jaw tightens and his eyes narrow as he looks out the window. "I witnessed it," he says in a tight, subdued voice. The icy clutch of horror takes the place of the coziness and warmth of the moment we shared. Whatever is out there is keeping an eye on us. Awaiting. Slowly, Callum gets up and approaches the window while continuing to look out at the shadows. Every muscle in my body tenses up as I follow suit, my heart hammering in my chest, prepared for whatever comes next. Callum mutters to himself, "We're not alone," as his hand involuntarily moves for the knife at his waist. The fear is crawling up my spine, and my stomach is in knots. It is not friendly, whatever it is. The all-too-familiar threat of peril has taken the place of the moment that should have been ours, and as Callum peers over the window, I sense that our serenity is transient once more. Outside, the shadow changes once more, slipping deeper into the darkness. I know it's not good, but I can't see what it is. The promise of another conflict fills the air, making everything seem weighty. Whatever it is, it will arrive. We're also not prepared, a night together. Only a tiny orange glow remains in the cabin after the fire has extinguished. The stress that none of us can release makes the air feel thick and heavy. The threat still hangs in my brain, producing its own shadow, even if the shadow that slithered around the trees outside seemed to have vanished. Callum is standing by the window, watching for movement in the shadows. For the preceding 5 minutes, he has stayed silent, watchful, and prepared to defend. But as the seconds pass without any more interruptions, I watch him at last settle down. He relaxes his broad shoulders, inhales deeply, and then turns back to face me. My breath hitches at the intensity of his eyes meeting mine. I haven't let myself fully accept it until now, but the weight of all we've gone through seems to hang between us. Betrayal, mistrust, and wrath, but also something more. He looks at me in a different way, softer and more clear. He's letting me in for the first time in what seems like an eternity. Callum walks across the room to where I'm sitting by the fire without saying anything. His presence becomes overwhelming as the gap between us narrows, and he is now directly in front of me. His warmth, strength, and the way his eyes haven't left mine are all I can think about, even though I should be thinking the danger and what might still be hiding in the dark. He says, "Stay with me tonight," in a low, hesitant voice that sounds as though he's scared of my response. I feel the warmth of his touch seeping into my skin as his hand extends out and lands lightly on my shoulder, warming me in a sense that fire could never. Startled by his request, I blink. Remain with him? He's asking me to stay with him now, after everything that has transpired, after all the doubt and mistrust? My sensible side tells me that we shouldn't. This place is perilous for us. We must exercise caution, as there are still threats out there. However, it's tough to resist the way he stares at me and the steady, definite feel of his touch. I hesitate, my thoughts swirling with opposing notions. I say, hardly lifting my voice above a whisper, "We're not safe here." That's the reality. We're not safe at all. Too many foes are hiding in the shadows, waiting for the exact chance to attack, and there is too much at stake. However, I remain with him, even as I utter the words. His warm, reassuring hand slides down my arm. "I understand," he continues in a calm yet strong tone. "However, it's just the two of us at this particular time. I want to forget about the danger, the pack, and everything else for once. All I want is to be with you here." I get a warmth from his comments that I haven't experienced in a very long time. I've been wearing the load of the world for far too long, ever vigilant and prepared for the next war. But now that Callum is so near and his touch is entrenched in my body, I feel peace, something I haven't let myself experience in what seems like forever. I'm attracted closer to his chest as his arms around me. Despite my initial reluctance, I find myself leaning into him and allowing him to hold me as his heartbeat's steady hum sounds like a lullaby. I am surrounded by his strength, which gives me a sense of security that I never thought I would experience again. The fact that I still want to believe in him and trust him despite everything is unnerving. "Callum," I begin, but my voice falters as I'm engrossed in the warmth of his hug. I place my head on his chest and close my eyes for a time, allowing myself to be here for this precious moment. My pulse skips a beat as he lays a delicate, almost reluctant kiss on the top of my head. His voice is full of quiet conviction as he continues, "I won't let anything happen to you. Never again." He is making a promise, and I earnestly hope that I will believe it. And I allowed myself to believe it for a second. I allowed myself to envisage a world in which I can trust him without hesitation, where we are safe and where we are not always on alert. However, that world appears so remote and inaccessible. I also know in my heart that it's perilous to let my guard down, even for a brief moment. Callum grips my face in his hands, his thumb barely stroking my cheek as he draws back just enough. His touch is so sensitive and emotional that I feel like my resolve is going to crack. I'd prefer not push him away. I want to trust him the way I did previously, to let him in. His voice is hardly discernible above a whisper as he confesses, "I've made mistakes. I am conscious of my hurt. But Aurora, I'm here now. I will not be leaving. All that matters to me is you." Before I can stop myself, I reach up and put my palm over his as his words pull at something deep inside of me. I get a jolt of comfort from the warmth of his flesh against mine, and I find myself leaning into his touch while my heart accelerates. I mumble, my voice cracking under the weight of my emotions, "I want to believe you. I honestly do. But Callum, it's tricky. After everything that has transpired, it is impossible to simply forget." He stares directly into my eyes and says, "I'm not asking you to forget. Please allow me to put things right." I lean into his touch and close my eyes as his fingertip follows the contour of my cheek once more. As I allow myself to concentrate on him, on us, the outside world appears to recede, the threat briefly pushed to the back of my consciousness. I think we might be able to repair what was damaged for the first time in a long time. Perhaps we can work together to find a solution. But the moment is cut short before I can react. The silence is disturbed like a thunderclap as a tremendous knock reverberates throughout the cabin. Callum swiftly pulls away as my eyes pop up, his body rigid and alert. With my heart racing in my chest, I sit up more straight. Who might it be? With unease in my voice, I whisper. Callum remained silent. With his palm resting on the hilt of his blade, he approaches the door with narrowed eyes, prepared for whatever or whoever may be waiting on the other side. There's another knock, this one more frenzied and louder. I rise up and watch Callum walk to the door, my heart hammering. A icy knot of worry has taken the place of the warmth of our moment in the pit of my stomach. It's not friendly, whatever it is. Before Callum can approach to the door, there's another knock, louder and more persistent this time. Something is on its way to us. The warning. The sound of the knock on the door is so loud that it shakes me from the vulnerable moment that Callum and I shared. My entire body stiffens as a wave of fear sweeps over me. Before he can touch it, the door swings wide as Callum grabs for the doorknob, his stance tight, prepared for an assault. With a pale face and a heaving chest from running miles, Mia suddenly enters. Before I can even question, she blurts out, "We need to leave," her wide eyes locking onto mine in a panic. Right now. My heart sinks into my abdomen. Her voice's desperation sends a new flood of anxiety through my veins. As protective as ever, Callum moves ahead of me, his eyes narrowing at Mia. His voice is low and menacing as he screams, "What's going on?" Mia doesn't even give him a glance. Her eyes remain fixed on me, begging and desperate. "We don't have time, Aurora. We must relocate." My throat feels constricted when I attempt to swallow. Why? What is going on? I try to sound calm, but my voice sounds wobbly. Her fingers shaking, she takes hold of my arm and pulls me to the door. She exclaims breathlessly, her terror infectious. "There's no time to explain. Once more, you are in danger. We must leave this place before they discover us." It seems as though the room is spinning. One more danger? I believed that Callum and I would be able to begin rebuilding from the ruins of our past. And now this, just when I thought we had a brief moment of calm. With my heart thumping in my ears, I distance myself from Mia. Who is pursuing me now? My voice cracks as I ask. I look at Callum, who is already heading for the door while glancing at the darkness outside. Even though his entire body is stiff and prepared for battle, I can see that he isn't entirely aware of what is going on. His eyes are filled with the kind of fear that arises when you're preparing for something significant. Mia turns to face me, her big eyes flashing with dread. She continues, "They're coming for you, Aurora," in a voice that is now hardly audible. "They know where you are, but I'm not sure who they are, and until they get you, they won't give up." My stomach churns wildly. Are you coming for me? A bone-deep chill replaces the warmth that Callum and I had just seconds before. This cannot occur once more. This time I have no idea who they are. Is it a different pack? Someone from my history? There have been numerous enemies and betrayals. I feel like I'm always running, like there's a hazard around every corner. Suddenly, Callum's hand reaches out and firmly squeezes mine. His touch is grounded and comforting, and it temporarily quiets the raging fear inside of me. However, the fear that is edging up my spine cannot be completely eliminated by his constant presence. Pulling at my sleeve once more, Mia insists, "We're not safe here. We must leave before they arrive." I look to Callum for confirmation, but even he seemed uncertain. His neck muscles are taut, and his mouth clenches. "We can't stay if they're after Aurora." I can feel the urgency behind his controlled voice. I shake my head, attempting to comprehend the seriousness of the situation. "Where even can we go?" I mumble. Thoughts of the unknown are running through my head. "They're hunting us, and they'll find us wherever we go." Callum tightens his hold on my hand. His voice is stern but quiet as he continues, "We'll figure it out. Aurora, I will not allow anything to happen to you. Not now." Mia's terror bubbles up as her eyes flicker between us. She yells, "You don't understand," and advances a step. "They are already en route and are aware of your location. We must relocate immediately." "Mia, who are they?" Callum asks, a hint of irritation emerging in his voice. "What do you not tell us?" Mia's dread is evident as her face crumples. She appears to be about to crumble under the weight of the secret she is keeping as she bites her lip. She stutters. I don't know exactly who. However, they are strong, stronger than anything we have ever encountered. They are deliberately targeting Aurora, and they have resources and insiders. Her remarks were like a kick to the stomach. I have to do everything I can to stay upright since my legs feel like jello. Although I've been targeted in the past, this feels worse. Whoever these individuals are, they pose a serious threat based on the trembling in Mia's voice and the dread in her eyes. Why me? I ask, hardly raising my voice above a whisper. Tears are starting to prickle the corners of my eyes. What are they seeking? Mia gives a pathetic shake of her head. I'm not sure. However, I am aware that we won't survive if we remain here. Her comments weigh me down and make me feel suffocated. I have no idea what to do. Our only choice seems to be to run, but where will we go? There is no longer a haven of safety, not when so many adversaries are encircling. Callum takes a step nearer and fixes his intensely determined gaze on mine. With greater resolve, he repeats, "We'll figure it out. We'll find a safe location, reassemble, and then devise a strategy. Aurora, I won't leave you to deal with this alone." I sense a deep fear, although his words should reassure me. With a quivering voice, Mia states, "We have no choice. We're dead if we stay." Callum nods, a determined expression hardening on his features. I follow him as he pulls me toward the door, my thoughts racing with doubt. Leaving this location entails entering an unfamiliar and perilous world where we are unsure of our allies and enemies. But what are our options? Escape plan. We walk into the packhouse hallway and the cold air hits my face. My heart started to beat faster. Callum has a strong grip on my hand and I can feel it as we run down the hall. He moves quickly and carefully and his body is stiff from determination. He says in a strong but low voice, "We'll go to the safe house." His voice sounds sure and there's no room for question. I push myself to keep going, even though my legs hurt as we walk through the packhouse's well-known hallways. I don't want to fall behind. We think that there is danger everywhere, and that we could be caught at any time. The building as a whole looks like it's about to collapse under the weight of the threat that is coming. Callum pulls me out of my daydream as his hand closes over mine once again. I fight to keep up with him as I look up at his focused and determined face. His jaw is clenched and his eyes are looking at everything. He looks like he's getting ready for the worst. "Are you certain that the safe house remains secure?" My heart is racing in my chest, but I'm trying to speak quietly as I ask anxiously. He nods, his attention briefly shifting to me before resting back on the road ahead. Right now, it's the one place they won't expect us going. All we have to do is come before they find us. His words provide me with a lifesaver, something to hold on to while I'm feeling scared. But despite my best attempts to convince myself that everything will be well, the fear that is eating away at me won't go away. I tighten my grip on Callum's hand, getting strength from his stiffness. I feel a little more at ease in the middle of the chaos because of the way he clings to me, as if he's not going to let go, no matter what. "Are you sure we'll make it?" I ask, hardly raising my voice above a whisper. Before I can stop it, the question leaves my lips. I don't want to come out as weak. It's impossible to control the terror that's rising inside of me. Then, as we go down the softly lit halls, he turns to face me, his fierce eyes meeting mine. I briefly see a softer quality in his look, which quiets my heart's frantic beating. He says calmly, "I'll see us through this as long as you're with me." I promise. His words stay between us, a promise I fervently want to meet. Even before I knew I needed a defender, Callum has always been there for me. Nevertheless, I can't help but feel the weight of doubt pressing down on me as the danger approaches. I swallow the terror that is about to overcome me and nod. "All right," I mumble, my voice quivering. "I have faith in you." However, I can't get rid of the constant thought that this is only the quiet before the storm, even as I say the words, that we're still on the edge of something far more dangerous than we understand. Regardless of how quickly we run or how hard Callum tries to keep me safe. As we go, the packhouse's walls appear to press in on us, magnifying every sound in the forced quiet. Everything seems to be warning us that we are being watched, even the little creak of the floorboards and the far-off sound of leaves outside. We arrive at the packhouse's back entrance, where the heavy wooden door stands looming over us. For a brief moment, Callum stops and looks out the little window. I can feel the pressure coming from him as his hold on my hand gets tighter. My air catches in my throat as I look up at him. What is it? My voice is hardly heard when I ask. He clenches his jaw and shakes his head. Just making sure we're clear, nothing. However, there's a glint of doubt in his eyes that makes me shudder. I briefly consider asking him again and pressing him for additional information, but I am hushed by the urgency in his manner. We have no time to question anything. Not right now. Callum carefully opens the door, protecting me with his body as he goes outside first, his look sweeping the area. I wait for him to give the all clear while holding my breath. With the threat rising big above us, the night air feels cooler than it should. Come on, he pushes in a low, eager voice. We must relocate. My heart beating, I follow him out into the open. The woodland looms ahead, dark and threatening, while the moon creates unsettling shadows on the ground. The safe house is tucked away someplace beyond those trees, but with the danger all around us, it seems like an impossibility. As we begin our trip into the woods, Callum continues to hold my hand and pull me along. The only thing keeping me from totally falling is his presence by my side. However, a stir in the woods to our left freezes us in our tracks before we can move more than a few steps. My body freezes in place as my breath catches in my throat. Immediately, Callum steps in front of me, his stance protective and prepared for fight. Figures then slowly appear out of the darkness, followed by more until we are surrounded on all sides. When I understand there is no way out, my heart drops to my stomach. In the moonlight, a dozen pairs of eyes sparkle, bent on feeding on us. Fear fills my blood as my heart quickens. Callum's hand closes around mine, but it's not soothing this time. It's desperate. I can see the fear etched in his face as his eyes briefly touch mine. Both of us are aware that we are overwhelmed. Nowhere to run to, not a safe home, no way out, trapped. As I look into the dark woods around the packhouse, I can feel the fear in the air and my heart beating in my chest. Dozens of bright eyes watch us, watching, piercing the darkness. The sound of aggressive wolves' low growls sent a chill down my spine as they circled like hunters. Callum takes a strong step ahead of me, blocking their view of me with his taut figure. I can feel the raw energy flowing off him, ready to attack at any moment, as his muscles tense beneath his clothes. He's trying to protect me and hide me from the danger that is coming ahead, but I know he can tell what I'm doing. We are trapped. I cling to his arm, my fingers shaking, not sure if it's from cold or fear. A warning roars through the air as the wolves get closer and their snarls get louder. They are not present to haggle. They are here to finish this. In a gruff sneer, Callum whispers, "Stay behind me." His eyes are full of purpose as he looks back at me, but I can feel the nervousness hiding behind the surface. I won't let them harm you, no matter what. Just stay beside me and follow my instructions. I swallow the knot in my throat and nod. I'm sure they can hear my heart beating so loudly. There is nowhere to go, despite my feelings telling me to run as quickly as possible. We're bound. I have never felt more helpless or useless as I do now, standing in the shadow of this huge danger. The bright eyes encircle us like birds ready to attack, moving closer. Their rage and wish to destroy us are obvious to me, and the weight of it weighs down on me like a blanket. Callum adds, we have to fight our way out, his eyes hardening as he keeps an eye on the wolves that are closing in. His voice is one of pure resolve rather than doubt. At the first sign of an attack, his entire body stiffens like a coiled spring, ready to go. His muscles are trembling from the effort of holding himself back, and I can feel the stress leaving him. He is watching the right chance, the exact moment to act. However, even though his confidence is all around me, uncertainty starts to creep into my thoughts. I try to stay cool, but my voice falters as I say, "We're outnumbered." The worry is too strong and clear to ignore. How should we do that? Callum stops me, his fierce look locked onto mine until I get a chill. "Don't think about that," he says. "We'll figure something out. We usually do." I bite my lip to control my fear as I nod. He is right. We have met and overcome tougher situations in the past. However, this feels different in some way. The wolves' purpose is not limited to posing a threat to people. They're here to murder. Callum's hand briefly touches mine, and even though I'm feeling nervous, the short touch is enough to make me feel warm. I feel grounded by his touch, which lets me know I'm not alone. He is present. Together we are in this. He begs, "Stay close to me," in a strong yet gentle voice, as if trying to calm the fear that he knows is bubbling beneath the surface. I tighten my grip on his arm while keeping an eye on the wolves who are surrounding us. Their growls are getting louder and more frightening, and their eyes are sparkling with anger. We are unable to take them all. I am aware of that. However, I can't let Callum fight them alone. One of the wolves comes from the group just as Callum is moving his weight and about to move. I recognize the figure, Ennett, and my breath catches in my throat. His eyes are filled with a mixture of pain and fury, and his face is twisted with anger. I mutter, "Bennett," frozen in place by the shock of seeing him here. Beside me, Callum tenses up, his eyes moving to Bennett with a look of total hate. "Why in the world are you here?" Callum snarls in a low, threatening voice. Bennett does not respond to him. His rage is burning in his eyes like a fire that threatens to destroy me, and his hard, intense look is fixed on me. My stomach turns to knots as a barrage of memories returns, including the lies, the pain, and the betrayal. Bennett sneers in a hateful tone. "You're not going anywhere, Aurora." He moves one more step, his presence intimidating. "You thought you could simply flee? That you could hide yourself from this?" I stand there, stuck between two men, one who may save me, the other who fooled me, my neck constricted, and I cannot breathe. Bennett can't see me since Callum is in front of me. His hands are clasped at his sides and his shoulders are stiff. His voice is deadly cool as he says, "Bennett, back off. You've caused enough hurt. You won't take her." Bennett's eyes widen dangerously as a snarl emerges from his mouth. He hisses, his voice filled with anger. "She's mine. She was meant to be mine forever." His words hit me like a kick to the gut, and for a minute I am motionless. The tension between the two guys is intense, and I feel like the world is closing in on me. I'm driven to face the man who ruined me because Bennett's deception hurt me more than I could have ever thought. Callum, however, doesn't give up. He sets his shoulders and approaches Bennett quietly, despite the storm that is bubbling beneath the surface. "She's not yours," Callum continues in a loud, angry voice. "You never had her in the first place." Bennett's angry eyes spark, and for a moment I think he's about to attack. His fists grip his sides as his body stiffens. I take a small step back, my breath caught in my throat, and my heart quickens. I'm bound. I'm stuck between two men, one who broke my heart, and the other who says he will keep it safe. Bennett says, "Get out of my way, Callum," in a menacingly dark voice. "Or I'll tear you to pieces." Callum doesn't even bat an eyelid. "You could give it a shot." Tension fills the silence between them, and as I stand there helpless to stop what is about to happen, every second seems to drag on forever. I can see the venom directed at Callum and the anger burning in Bennett's eyes, and I know that this will not end peacefully. Bennett narrows his eyes and steps forward. "You think you can keep her safe from me? From all of us?" He has a deep, angry growl in his voice. "I don't think," Callum answers in a hard voice. "I understand." All of a sudden, everything explodes. All around us, wolves snarl and slash through the air with their claws. With his body working as a cover, Callum darts ahead of me in a moment, but I know he can't possibly beat them all. As he flees into the dark and watches the mayhem, Bennett's laughter reverberates throughout the night. I'm bound. I'm stuck between a man who has wronged me and someone who could help me, but at what price? A choice. Bennett's look pierced mine, and I felt a surge of worry wash over me as he approached me. My heart quickens as I look into his eyes, which used to be so familiar, but now they have a scary focus that makes me feel scared instead. Bennett growls, his voice raw with anger. "You don't belong with him." And now he's too close. "Aurora, you belong with me." His tone was one of privilege and charge, and the words struck me like a slap. My mouth opens, but nothing comes. His very presence stirs up feelings I thought I had buried deep. He's looking at me as if I'm still that girl who would do anything to be close to him. However, I'm not. No more. I manage to say, "Don't," taking a reflexive step back. I am grounded by a sense of security when my back touches Callum. The action causes Bennett's eyes to flicker, getting darker with anger and envy that are bubbling beneath the surface. The smell of danger fills the air as the wind blows up around us. Bennett keeps her attention on me as though the dogs aren't even there, despite their nervous background moving and growling. He says, "You know I'm right," with a slight lowering of the strong edge in his voice. Our relationship was destined to be. His words suck me down, bringing with them images of the past. I shake my head, though, determined to keep my feet firmly grounded in the here and now rather than the past, not the lies. With a harsher tone than I had anticipated, I respond, "I was never meant to be yours, not how you would like me to be." Callum, whose body is stiff and coiled with barely held anger, steps between us before Bennett can take another step. His guarded stance is a dead sign. "She's not yours, Bennett," Callum says in a low, threatening voice. "She was never." Callum has a tone that makes me shiver for some reason. It's more than simply rage. There is a fundamental threat at play, and for a split second, I fear that he might attack Bennett and rip him to pieces. Bennett, however, doesn't give up. His jaw is tense and his eyes are narrow, but he is not looking at Callum anymore. As if Callum's comments didn't even count, it's still on me. "You believe that we are done with this?" Bennett sneers, but then he looks at me and relaxes once more, trying to draw me back into the emotional web he once managed. His tone relaxes as he talks. "You can't act as though what we had was meaningless, Aurora." Beside me, Callum's roar increases, but I stop him by putting my hand on his arm. His body seems to calm down a little as I touch him, but the stress still simmers beneath the surface. Bennett's voice is insistent as he tries to break through the wall I've put up around myself. "We had a real problem, something that one else can understand." I fight the flow of memories by tightening my hands at my sides. "We did have something together once, something that gave me hope for the future and something I believed to be real. However, that was before the betrayal, before I understood his true name." I breathe deeply and make myself look straight into Bennett's eyes. I say, my voice shaking a little, "It wasn't real, but the truth is there, solid and unyielding. The instant you betrayed me, whatever we had died." Bennett winces, but his drive stays unshakable. He approaches me once more, his eyes now beseeching. "Aurora, I made mistakes. I am aware of that. However, we can resolve this. We can start afresh, you and I." "No." Callum's fingers quietly support me as I hear the word come out harder than I expected. "Bennett, there is nothing to correct. I've changed since then." Bennett's eyes never waver. I can't believe it, but his eyes soften and a glimmer of something, remorse, goes through them. I can't allow him to take me back to the time when I questioned everything I desired and who I was. His voice is like a whisper on the wind when he murmurs, "Aurora." Although his words are meant to be calming, they reopen old wounds. "Do you not remember the way things used to be? Before everything went wrong? How were we? We were content." I force myself to swallow as old memories, which I have been trying to ignore, come to the surface. I thought that Bennett and I could have a future together when we were close. I felt like I was the only one in the world who counted because of the way he used to look at me and make me giggle. All of that, however, was wrong. A front. I will always remember how it ended. The pain, the humiliation. He tried to pick up the pieces of my broken heart as he left me. Those memories are equally powerful and clear. I shake my head softly and add, "Bennett, I'm not that girl anymore. I've evolved." He seems surprised that I said that, as seen by the tiny widening of his eyes. I briefly saw the boy I used to care about and who gave me a sense of connection. But the man in front of me now, the one who has hurt me more than anybody else has long since replaced that Bennett. "Please, Aurora." For a brief minute, I nearly feel bad for Bennett as his voice breaks. Nearly. However, I then remember the lies, the trickery, and the way he preyed on my feelings as if they were unimportant to him. And any pity I had vanishes. I need the room, so I step back and get closer to Callum. I tell Bennett in a strong, determined voice, "I've moved on, that you ought to as well." My words cause his face to stiffen, and the kindness in his eyes is replaced with rage. His voice is filled with rage as he yells out, "You can't just walk away from this. You can't flee from our situation." I hold his eyes with firm confidence and reply, "I'm not running. I've decided to proceed." Bennett looks at me for a while, trying to control his feelings while his chest rises and falls quickly. His battle between wanting to fight for me and realizing he's already lost is obvious in his eyes. Something dark and possessive sparks in his face as his eyes dart to Callum, who is standing guard at my side. "You believe he can keep you safe?" Bennett sneers in a low, threatening voice. "Do you believe he is superior to me?" I add, "He's everything you're not," in a firm voice that pierces the atmosphere like a sword. "He is truthful. He is devoted. Additionally, he would never betray me in the manner that you did." Bennett's face contorts in rage, but I stay unwavering. I refuse to be ruled by him any longer. I refuse to allow him to take me back in time. Bennett takes a step closer and adds, "I won't let you throw this away." His voice is suddenly desperate. "Aurora, we can still be something. Don't pick him instead of me." The decision weighs heavily on me, and my heart thuds in my chest. I sense Callum's power firmly establishing me at my side, sturdy and unflinching. However, Bennett's remarks arouse emotions I had long believed to be dormant. I'm at a crossroads, caught between the future I'm frantically attempting to create and the past I've attempted to forget. I know that with Callum, I can have the life I've always desired, one based on love and trust rather than deceit and treachery, because of his passionate loyalty and protective demeanor. But Bennett's presence serves as a reminder of my past self and all of my beliefs, the girl who loved him and would do anything to be with him at all costs. I stand between the two guys and take a big breath, my heart racing. Callum is my light and my future, but my history with Bennett is tugging at me and attempting to draw me back into the shadows. I have to decide whether to fight for my future with Callum or face my past with Bennett. Fight for love. With a storm forming behind them, Bennett's eyes enter my own, tightening the air between us. I prepare myself for his words as his lips turn into a sneer, but I don't flinch. I am unable to. Not right now. I strongly say, despite my heart beating in my chest, I don't belong to you. I'm with Callum now. My hand naturally goes to Callum's as I feel his power and warmth surrounding me. Despite my greatest desire to flee the destruction Bennett causes in my life, I refuse to allow him to scare me. As he moves forward, Bennett's jaw tightens and his eyes narrow. "You believe you can simply take away everything we owned?" There's a hatred in his voice that makes my skin crawl, and it's low and scary. "You believe he can love you as much as I did?" The words, each tinged with poison, come out of his mouth. I don't want to think about what he said. I turn to face Callum, who is straight and strong beside me. As though to tell me that I'm not facing this war alone, he puts his arm around my waist and draws me in. Callum's voice, strong and determined, pierces the tension like a knife. "She's made her choice. You must come to terms with that." Bennett's face tightens, his eyes barely able to control their rage. The veins in his neck pulse with controlled anger as his hands squeeze at his sides. As though planning his next move, he takes another step closer while looking between Callum and me. "You think this is over, Callum?" Bennett sneers in a derisive tone. "You're not getting it, are you? You will never really own her. You will never know her as well as I do. In my heart, she is still mine." The words hurt, and I had a brief moment of doubt. The memories I've tried to suppress, the part of me that once loved him and thought we would be together forever, are evoked by Bennett's comments. However, that was before the betrayal and the lies. I push the thoughts aside with a shake of my head. I answer, "No, Bennett," in a strong voice despite my pounding heart. "I am not your stuff, no more. That was destroyed by you, not by me." Bennett laughs quietly and without fun. "Aurora, do you believe you're free of me? Do you believe this is the conclusion?" Something far scarier than jealousy darkens his eyes. Ownership. He's not only upset, he is prepared for battle. Beside me, Callum moves tensely, prepared for anything that may happen. With a stern voice, he says, "She owes you nothing, and you'll regret trying to take her away from me." The crushing strain is unbearable. It seems like someone is physically putting pressure on me. Now, with their low growls echoing through the night air, Bennett's wolves, who had been hiding in the darkness, advance. As soon as I understand that this is going to become something much more important than a simple argument, my heart jumps into my throat. Bennett, I begin, trying to evoke whatever humanity may still be present in him. Don't do this, please. There is no need for strife. But I can tell my words have been ignored since Bennett's eyes are already shining with evil purpose. He is not going to back down. His dogs are ready to attack, their teeth bared and their hackles up. I understand there's no going back now, and my breath catches in my throat. Callum remains steadfast. His body is tilted in front of mine as his protective grip tightens on me. His voice is as keen as a blade as he says, "You'll have to go through me to get to her." Bennett's teeth sparkle in the low light as he smiles. Oh, I do plan to. His dogs suddenly leap forward, their snarls filling the air as he snaps his fingers. Everything moves so fast. I'm standing behind Callum, using his might as a cover one moment, and then we're surrounded. Callum's pack comes to our defense, and I hear the clash of teeth and claws. With wolves growling and snapping in their fight for control, the noise all around me is deafening. Callum! I see him involved in a battle with one of Bennett's biggest wolves, and I scream as my heart begins to race. Blood. Too much blood, but he's holding his own. As I watch him fight, his body moving with the pure might of an alpha desperate to protect what is truly his, my heart tightens. I must take action. I can't just watch from here. However, how can I beat a pack of wolves? As I desperately look for something, anything, to protect myself, my mind is rushing. Then I noticed it. Half buried in the dirt was a sharp, pointy rock. Without thinking, I go for it, my fingers shaking as I hold on tightly. When Bennett's eyes meet mine, everything else briefly disappears. Only the two of us are present. The snarling and growling, the roar of the fight fades into the background. I can't read his face, but there's something in his eyes that makes me shudder. With a softer, almost beseeching tone, he asks, "Aurora, is this really what you want? To oppose me? Against all of our possessions?" Memories flash before my eyes and my chest tightens. Once upon a time, we enjoyed love, laughing, and good times. But then I remember the hurt he imposed on me, the lies and the treachery. I reject such thoughts with a shake of my head. Bennett, this is what you left me. I'm currently fighting for my future, my chances with Callum. He takes a dangerous step in my direction as his face contorts in rage. However, Callum rushes ahead before he can approach, crashing with Bennett with the power of a freight train. As they fight for control, they fall to the ground in a storm of claws and fists. The two men I've loved the most rip into one another with such passion that it shakes me to my very core, and I watch hopelessly. Bennett's wolves are still circling, but Callum's pack is just able to keep them at bay. I see one of Bennett's wolves charging straight toward me as a loud snarl breaks through the chaos. I realize I don't have time to respond, and my heart stops. Squeezing my eyes shut, I prepare myself for the impact as the wolf jumps with its teeth wide. However, it never materializes. I open my eyes to find Callum standing in front of me, his chest heaving with fast breaths and blood dripping from his face. At his feet, the wolf lies still with a wide cut across its neck. Once more, he saved me. Despite the fighting going on all around us, he asks, "Are you okay?" In a scratchy voice and with worried eyes. I nod, feeling a knot in my throat. I manage to say, "I'm fine," hardly raising my voice above a whisper. "I'm grateful." With his eyes locked on mine, Callum wipes the blood from his face. "I promise to always keep you safe, Aurora. Always." Another scream reverberates through the night before I can react, and Bennett stands up, bloodied but unbeatable. His dogs huddle by his side as he looks at us, his eyes burning with rage. As he wipes the blood from his mouth, Bennett says, "This isn't over. Even though you won tonight, it's not over yet." He then vanishes into the darkness, with his pack trailing behind him as their growls fade into the distance. An intense feeling of tiredness takes the place of the energy in my blood. With my body shaking from the shock of what had happened, I fall into Callum's arms. Callum holds me tight and says, "We'll be all right." I swear. But I understand that this is far from over as I look out into the dark trees where Bennett went, love in battle. I can hear dogs howling and bodies crashing all around me as the night is a blur of mayhem and carnage. Every time my heart beats, the fear that shoots through me is repeated. I make an effort to focus and maintain my composure in the face of chaos, but it's difficult to remain calm when things move so quickly. There are wolves everywhere, their growls sending shivers down my spine as shadows dart in the darkness. My legs give way under me as I stumble over a rock, but strong arms grab me before I can fall to the ground. Callum, he is constantly present, constantly on guard and constantly prepared. His eyes never leave mine as he firmly grasps me and drags me back to my feet. His presence works as a calming force amid the mayhem, and his touch is grounded. Despite the nervousness in the air, he replies quietly, "Stay with me." Even throughout this fight, something is reassuring about the way he looks at me, as if he would never allow anything to hurt me as long as he is present, and his eyes sparkle with resolve. "I've got you." I try to avoid the fear as I nod and swallow the knot in my throat. I hold on to what he said, allowing it to calm the growing fear. Even in the middle of this chaos, I feel safe as long as I'm with him. However, the strife continues. The wolves continue to approach, their growls becoming more threatening and louder. I try to keep up, but it's difficult as my body trembles when I take a step forward. This is not what I was made for. I've never participated in fighting. As one of Bennett's wolves rushes toward us, teeth bared and eyes burning with rage, my heart races. I am motionless as I freeze. "Callum!" I scream, my voice breaking as I'm struck with fear. Callum is there before the wolf can get to me. He hits the wolf, sending it flying to the ground as he rushes like lightning, his body a blur of strength and speed. Callum's muscles stretched as he beat the beast, and the sound of teeth snapping filled the air. When I see how strong he is and how he fights with everything he has, my heart jumps into my mouth. Callum growls, his voice harsh and demanding, "Stay close to me." His focused and worried look meets mine. "Don't get lost, Aurora. If you're too far away, I can't protect you." Even though my heart is rushing with terror, his words give me a wave of love. I get the sense that he values me more than anything else, based on the way he looks at me and pronounces my name. The weight of his protectiveness is crushing, but it's also comforting in a way I didn't expect. I say, gasping, "I'm trying," my heart still beating from the near miss. "I won't leave you. I promise." However, keeping togetherness in the middle of chaos is tough. There are dogs everywhere, and the fight isn't abating. Bennett's wolves are persistent, but Callum's pack fights bravely. Every time I believe we are making progress, we are pushed backward by another wave. Although I make an effort to keep up, I'm not as strong or quick as the others. I feel as though I have no place in this fight. I can't give up now, though. At one point, a wolf rounds me with its hungry look as I'm crouched with my back against a tree. I press myself against the rough bark, my body shaking as fear takes hold of me like a trap. There was nowhere to run to, not a place to hide. I'm bound. The wolf leaps at me, teeth snapping dangerously close to my face. I scream, my body instinctively ducking. But before the wolf can sink its teeth into me, Callum leaps in from the side. He smacks into the wolf with a power that sends both of them falling to the ground. I watch in stunned wonder as he wrestles the wolf, his body moving with smooth precision, every muscle working in concert to take down the enemy. He manages to pin the wolf down, his fingers clutching its neck, while he growls a warning deep in his throat. The wolf whimpers, fighting beneath his hands, but Callum doesn't stop. With one more effort, he tosses the wolf off, sending it running into the darkness. "Are you okay?" Callum asks, turning to me, his chest heaving as he catches his breath. I nod, my throat too thick to speak. In addition to the fear, there's something more that remains that I find difficult to explain. Thank you, relief, and something more deep, something that makes my heart race in a whole other way. In a gentle move that seems out of place in the middle of the chaos, Callum reaches for me and brushes his hand against my cheek. Despite this, I lean into it. I long for the comfort and warmth of his touch. I shake as I say, "You saved me." Once more, with his eyes seeking mine, he says, I'll always save you, Aurora. Always. There's a moment of calm between us, a little break from the chaos as we stand there, breathing hard, our eyes locked. Something changes at that time. Something between us changes. There's more to it than simply his protectiveness toward me. It's the way he talks to me and looks at me, like I'm the only person who cares about him, as if he would risk everything to protect me. I suddenly understood that I cared for him. Deeply. More than I ever knew. The sounds of battle bring me back to reality before I can speak. The night is still filled with the growls and snarls of the wolves involved in battle. Callum looks away, returning his attention to the fight, but I can't take my eyes off of him, my heart pounding for a different reason. I make an effort to stay near Callum as he directed, but it's difficult to keep up as the fight goes on. The wolves never give up, and just when I think we're almost done, they attack again. Even though Callum is continually fighting and protecting me, I can tell that he is starting to feel the effects of his tiredness. His breathing has become more laborious and his moves slower. Even though he's giving it his all, I know that he can't continue forever. I attempt to help, doing everything I can to protect myself, but it seems useless. Callum is stronger than I am, even more than I think. This type of conflict is not my style. I can't just watch him take all the blows, though. I must take action. I'm going to rush forward to help him when a chilly howl pierces the atmosphere, immobilizing everyone. The deep, sinister sound reverberates through the woods, freezing my blood. I've never heard that sound before, and it makes me feel a sense of dread that I can't get rid of. Callum's head whips up, his eyes sharpening as he listens. His body tenses, his muscles coiled like a spring ready to shatter. "What is that?" I ask, my voice barely a whisper. Callum doesn't answer right away, his eyes scanning the darkness as if he's waiting for something or someone. The wolves stop as the howl wanes into the distance and the fight around us calms down. At last, Callum adds in a low, foreboding voice, "It's not over." His face is gloomy as he turns to face me. "Remain near me, Aurora. Whatever it was, we're going to get it." Though it's different this time, the fear is back and stronger than before. It's not just about the fight this time. There is something at stake, something much more perilous than anything we have encountered thus far. And I am aware that the main battle is yet to come when the dust starts to fall around us. Aftermath. Every breath feels labored, and the night air is heavy with the smell of perspiration and blood. Despite being assaulted and bruised, I am still alive. Just thinking about that truth makes me feel guilty and thankful. Many others were unable to attend. The eerie hush left by those who fell, the distant growls and the turmoil gradually calming down are all still audible to me. But just now, the anguish pulsing through my body is so intense that I can hardly think. My legs shake under me, straining to support me, but Callum is there before I can pass out. He always is. With that recognizable strength, his arms glide beneath mine and raise me to my feet. He touches me gently but firmly, as if he's scared of shattering me. I look at him, and for the first time tonight, I take him seriously. He's still standing despite having blood on his shirt, a horrible cut across his arm, and raw knuckles from fighting. He was keeping me safe, therefore. I'm still standing. Are you all right? His voice, gentle and full of care, pierces the haze in my head. Despite how terrible everything is, I nod. I believe so. You? He shrugs it off as if it were nothing and says, "I'm fine," as if he hadn't just spent the last few hours fighting bravely to protect me. His eyes, however, send a different message. The results of the fight have left them tired and gloomy. He's not doing well. Not at all. He won't say it, though. Neither of us moves for a second. We simply stand there looking at one another while breathing deeply. Something heavy, something unsaid hangs between us. There is more to it than the satisfaction of living, anything that has been building for a while and now seems to be about to explode. I mumble, my voice scarcely heard above my heart's pounding. "You saved me." The words seem lacking. They don't properly express the seriousness of what he has done. But I only have those. His hand takes a loose hair from my face as his eyes soften. "Aurora, you don't need to thank me. I would do it once more. Every time." I feel my throat getting compressed as I swallow violently. My feelings of thankfulness for him are great. Tonight is not the only thing at stake. He has helped me in ways I could never have imagined, and I am at a loss for words. I take the only action I can think of, which is to move closer to you. Callum, not even sure what I want to say, I mutter. When I say his name, it feels like a tether, something to cling to after the storm we just survived. His eyes get dark, but not from battle tiredness. This is not the same thing, something deeper, more personal. For the first time tonight, I allow myself to fully lean into him as he reaches out and pulls me into his arms. I feel relaxed here despite everything surrounding us because his body is warm and strong. Like he's scared to let go. His hand slides around my waist and holds me firmly against him. He whispers, "I'll always save you," in a rough, low voice near my ear. The world disappears for a second as his forehead touches mine. We are alone. Only this moment, pure and real. Something inside of me hurts as his words cut my heart. He meant it, I know that. His voice is not timid. No matter what, he would protect me and fight for me. And I'm unable to ignore how it makes me feel. Safe, to be sure, but also more deep. I haven't allowed myself to feel that way about anyone in a long time. I close my eyes and allow the feeling of his warm breath against my skin to soothe the mental storm that is still burning. I mumble, I'm not sure how to express my gratitude. For everything. He gently pulls back just enough to meet my eyes and says, "You don't need to thank me. Aurora, I'm not doing this because I want something in return. The reason I'm doing it is that he fades away, his eyes fluttering with something deeper than words that I can't quite understand. For what reason? The unspoken but deeply important question remains between us. Though I'm not sure I'm prepared for the answer, I want to ask him. Not in this place, not right now. There are still a lot of issues and things we haven't discussed, but the world snaps back into focus before either of us can say another word. We are both shocked out of the moment by a loud noise in the distance. The realization that we're not alone causes us to distance ourselves from one another, shattering our connectedness. Even after the fight is finished, we are still dealing with the fallout. Tension is still high in the air, and I can feel the pressure of what's about to happen bearing down on us. I'm about to say something when Mia shows up, her eyes wide with anxiety and her face drawn and pale. She seems to have been sprinting because she is out of breath, and I can tell something is off the instant she gets to us. "Callum, Aurora?" She let out a gasp, her voice trembling in fear. "There is something you must see." Her tone makes my stomach turn. Her hands shaking at her sides and the fear in her eyes are both obvious to me. She's going to tell us something horrible. The same worry is seen in Callum's face as I look at him. What is it? Callum asks in a strong but controlled tone. Although he's attempting to keep control, I can hear a hint of fear slipping in. With her eyes moving between us, Mia inhales deeply. "It's the others. You must join me, right now." As fear grips my chest, my heart beats faster. The others. How did they fare? My thoughts are running through every option as I look at Callum, but he doesn't waste any time. Without saying anything further, he takes hold of my hand and drags me along with him as we follow Mia through the trees. When we get in the clearing, the sight before us chills me to the bone. Human bodies, so many bodies. The ground is covered in wolves, both from Bennett's pack and Callum's. Some are hurt, others not moving at all. Just looking at it makes my stomach turn. My fingers grow white as I try to control the vomit that is rising in my throat, and I tighten my hold on Callum's hand. Mia's voice is barely a whisper. But at what cost did we win the battle? I am unable to reply to her. My chest feels too heavy and my throat too tight. I'm not sure how to handle the enormous destruction that surrounds us. While many others did not survive, we did. I feel overwhelmed by the weight of that truth. The only thing holding me down is Callum's hold on my hand. Pulling me in closer, he puts his arm across my shoulders to protect me from the worst of it. However, the blood, the broken bodies, and the destruction are still obvious to me. Even though it doesn't feel like it, I whisper, "It's over." Not at all. Although the fight is over, the wounds it left behind will never completely go away. "Not yet," Callum mumbles in a tight, low voice. The horizon, where the first rays of dawn are beginning to peek through the trees, is the center of his attention. This is only the start. His statements make me shudder because I know deep down that they are true. It's not over yet. It's not quite over yet. There are still a lot of things we don't know and haven't experienced. The most difficult part is still to come, I realize as I look over the battlefield and the blood-soaked ground beneath my feet. Mia steps closer, her words breaking through the thick quiet. "There's more," she says solemnly. "Someone or something is on the way." My breath catches in my throat as I freeze. "What do you mean?" Mia's eyes are wide with fear as she looks at me. "I don't know, but we need to prepare. There's something out there, Aurora, something dangerous." I feel Callum tense alongside me, his body going rigid as he listens to her words. The fighter rises to the surface once more, and I sense the change in him as his eyes darken. With a resolute and icy tone, he states, "Then we'll be ready." However, as we stand there, surrounded by the battle's fallout, I can't get rid of the feeling that, despite our readiness, nothing can fully prepare us for what lies ahead. The real fight has only just started. Hidden danger. We scarcely have time to catch our breath as Mia's unsteady, piercing voice pierces the environment. "You must accompany me. Right now." I glance at Callum, who is still maintaining his arm around my waist for safety. My whole body is rigid from strain, and the adrenaline from the previous round hasn't left my system. However, Mia's shocked look is what truly chills me. That look on her face is unlike anything I've ever seen. "What's happening?" I ask, sounding more controlled than I am. Right now, when everything appears to be coming apart, I can't afford to be terrified. Mia pauses, appearing as if she's having problems finding the appropriate words, her pale face distorted. She trembles as she continues. "I found something. Something you both need to see." Her eyes flit between Callum and me, imploring, as if she wishes whatever she's discovered would just disappear. Callum nods to Mia as his grasp on me increases. "Show us," he begs, his voice as powerful and harsh as ever. I feel anchored by his presence, yet there's an unstated worry between us. Anything that Mia finds is terrible, thus, this isn't good. In the pit of my stomach, I feel it. The only sound disturbing the calm as we follow Mia through the woods is the crunch of leaves under our feet. It becomes darker the farther we go. As the woods envelop us, my senses grow keener, and my skin prickles with alertness. The quiet is unsettling, as if the woods is holding its breath. It looks like even the wind has lessened, leaving just the eerie calm to go with our frenzied feet. "Mia, what is it?" With my pulse beating and the sensation of dread becoming deeper with each step we take, I ask again. Mia takes a long time to answer. At the edge of a clearing, she stops abruptly and points toward a large tree that towers above us. In an almost perceptible whisper, she whispers, "There." I attempt to see what she's talking about by straining in the dim light. I immediately notice nothing out of the ordinary, just a standard tree, towering tall like the others. Then, however, I find something engraved into the bark. My throat tightens with every breath. This is not the end of it. The sentences seem to have been carved in a fit of fury as they are deeply cut into the tree, angular and forceful. I move closer, unable to take my eyes off the frightening message, and my blood feels cold. It is an obvious warning that feels like a kick to the gut. Callum takes a position next to me, his body tense as he scans the words. His features take on a dark shade as his face tightens. He says, more to himself than to me, "They're coming back. Whoever did this isn't finished." I swallow hard, the horror climbing up my spine. What are we going to do? My voice sounds practically whispery, quieter than I expected. I loathe feeling so powerless and vulnerable. Even though I feel like Callum is gazing at me, I can't force myself to look at him. Not when the only thing on my thoughts is the menace that lies waiting to strike. Callum draws me in close by putting his arm around my waist. At last, I lift my head to meet his intense look. His eyes are burning with resolution, but there's also something more fundamental and personal there. With a low, vicious voice, he adds, "We'll be ready for them. I will not enable anything to befall to you, I promise." His words wrap around me like a promise, and for a little minute, I feel secure. However, the statement inscribed into the tree serves as a sharp reminder that security is an illusion. The danger is real and moving closer to us. Callum's warmth penetrates my icy skin as I lean onto his chest. His fingers linger a fraction of a second longer than is needed as his palm lifts to whisk a strand of hair from my face. In direct contrast to the dread that is eating away at me, the softness of his touch makes my heart ache. I whisper, "I don't want to lose you," before I can stop myself from saying it. It's the honest, sensitive truth. Callum murmured, his lips touching my forehead. "You won't. I will always keep you safe." The warning is entrenched in my mind, but I wish I could trust him. It's not over yet. Like a frightening chant, the words kept replaying in my thoughts. Mia takes a step nearer, her arms around her as she looks at the words. "The person who did this wants us to discover it. They want us to feel terrified." I murmur to myself, "Well, it's working," as I attempt to get rid of the building panic. Mia turns to face me, her anxious eyes wide. "Do you feel they may be involved? The ones we previously battled?" Beside me, Callum tenses up. "It's feasible," he says somberly. "However, they have never been so straightforward. This message's sender is menacing." "Excellent," I whisper. "Exactly what we required." I can feel the pressure emanating from Callum as his arm tightens around me. He adds in a hard, determined voice, "We'll find them. And they will regret ever pursuing us after we do." My heart is quivering as I glance up at him. He has such self-assurance and conviction in his competence to keep us secure. However, I have a nagging sensation that this is simply the beginning. The person who left the message is playing a game, and it's us who are entangled in it. What if? I'm not sure if I should express the thought that has been bothering me, so I hesitate, but I must know. What happens if we're not prepared? What if they are more powerful than we are? Callum looks down at me, his mouth set. "We'll fight harder after that. To win, we will stop at nothing." He is ferociously driven, but I can't stop the doubt from sneaking in. "What if it's insufficient?" I ask gently, my voice tinted with anxiety. I had to look into Callum's eyes as his face softened, and he cupped my face in his hands. "Watch me, Francesca. We have endured hell and back. Things that would have broken anybody else have not broken us. We will not quietly allow them to take everything away from us. We quarrel. Together." I can't even breathe for a second because of the intensity in his look. I'm being brought out of the darkness that has been threatening to swallow me whole by his words, which are like a lifeline. With a beating heart, I slowly nod. "With each other." Callum pushes his forehead against mine as he leans in. With his breath warm on my skin, he murmured, "I'm not letting you go. Not right now. Never." I felt a flicker of optimism for the first time since we found the message because of the evident promise in his voice. Perhaps we can make it through this. Perhaps, just possibly, we may emerge from this stronger. However, I know in my heart that the war is far from over. Everything we have fought for might be obliterated by the next attack, which is a significant danger. Mia's scream, angry and frantic, pierces the moment just as Callum's lips brush mine. "We must return. Right now." Both Callum and I turn to face her, and the horror in her eyes makes me feel a fresh wave of dread. "What is it?" I ask, scarcely lifting my voice above a whisper. Mia's eyes are wide with fright, and her face is white. "There's another thing. We're not alone, in my view." My pulse skips a beat, and I grasp for Callum out of reflex. "What do you mean?" With an anxious look around, Mia murmured, "I heard something. They are observing us." The phrases make my spine tingle. As Callum looks around the trees, his body taut and prepared for battle, his hold on me gets tighter, the hidden enemy. Standing in the place, Callum and I look at the tree. The words, "This isn't over," inscribed into the bark, throbs in my thoughts like a horrible premonition. I'm convinced Callum can hear the beating of my heart in my chest. I can't take my eyes off the message. It appears to be mocking us and demanding that we take action. "Who is involved in this?" I quiver as I whisper. I attempt to restore control by tightening my hands into fists as they shake a bit. This crushing sensation of impotence is something I loathe. It's disturbing that whatever is responsible is playing tricks on us and keeping us in the dark. Callum takes a long time to answer. His eyes are concentrated on the message, and his jaw is tightened. I can sense the wrath bubbling behind his serenity and silence. His strength has always been his protectiveness, but it appears to be hanging on the verge of something more dangerous and deadly these days. I remark we need to figure this out, but it sounds empty, like I'm stating the obvious. Surviving is more vital than merely figuring things out. I can feel Callum's warmth through the stiffness in his muscles as his arm tightens around me. "We will," he says in a steady, quiet voice. "They will regret ever pursuing us once we uncover who is responsible for this." Despite his best attempts to soothe me, his words merely make my stomach flip. This individual has gone to tremendous pains to ensure that we are aware that they are not yet done. This indicates that they will stop at nothing to continue this game. Mia takes a step closer, her eyes wide with alarm and her face pale. She adds, "I don't think this is just about Greta and Bennett." I can see the fear in her eyes as her voice falters a bit. A further significant event is taking place. The strings are being tugged by someone else. I turn to face her, feeling a sinking sensation of dread. "What do you mean?" I ask. Mia looks from Callum to me and chews her lip. "Bennett and Greta were dangerous, but they lacked organization. This isn't like the others. It appears orchestrated, as if someone is in control of everything from the background. Someone with greater authority." I can feel the pressure emanating from Callum as his grasp on my waist becomes stronger. His knuckles are white from the intense squeezing of his fists. "Whoever it is," he adds in a tone of restrained wrath, "they will regret pursuing us." I'm very affected by his protectiveness and his readiness to stand up for us no matter what. Knowing that he would stop at nothing to defend me gives me comfort. But terror also tightens its hold on my chest. We have no notion who our opponents are. If we don't know what or who it is, how can we prepare for what's ahead? I lay a loving palm on Callum's chest as I take a step toward him. "More for myself than for him," I mumble. "We'll work this out." "We must." For a little while his stare softens as he peers down at me. With resolve in his voice, he asserts, "We will. I will not enable anything to befall to you, to any one of us. I want to have confidence in him, to have faith that everything will work out." However, the stark reminder that nothing is certain is offered by the words etched into the tree. The adversary is out there, waiting for the best chance to strike again while lurking in the shadows, and we may not be as lucky this time. Mia glides nervously, glancing over her shoulder as if she's expecting someone to suddenly spring out of the woods. Her voice is worried as she says, "We have to return. Out here, we're too exposed." She is accurate. The once comfortable stillness in the forest is now growing frightening, and it seems oppressive. I take a long breath to restore my calm before nodding. "Leave now." As we begin to return through the woods, Callum's arm remains firmly around me. Our footsteps feel too loud and too conspicuous. My heart skips a beat every time a twig cracks, and I can't help but peek around the trees, almost expecting someone or something to rush out at us. Callum stares down at me as we walk. With his eyes piercing mine, he says quietly, "Are you okay?" I attempt to smile, but I'm confident it doesn't reach my eyes. I scarcely lift my voice above a whisper when I say, "I will be," as long as we remain companions. His expression relaxes for a second as he nods. "Always." Even though his statements are clear, they have significant importance for me. I'm convinced that Callum will be there for me no matter what. In the heart of this horror, such thought affords me a glimpse of hope, a lifeline. As the sun sinks farther in the sky, the shadows become longer as we reach the clearing's edge. The forest itself seems to be holding its breath, waiting for something to happen, and the silence is unsettling. Then it does. The air is pierced by a close, harsh howl, too near. My grasp tightens on Callum's arm as my heart jumps into my throat, causing me to freeze. "What was that?" Even though I already know the answer, I whisper. As he listens, Callum's body tenses and his eyes darken. "Wolves," he says, gritting his teeth. "They're close." Mia's eyes widen in horror as her face goes pale. "We must move, right now." However, a second, closer howl reverberates through the woods before any of us can move. My heart is racing, and the sound makes me leap with panic. The foe is here, not just close. Callum pulls me in closer as his arm goes tighter around me. With his eyes scanning the trees, he says, "We're not fleeing." We face them. With my heart thumping in my ears, I swallow forcefully. Despite how great the fear is, I refuse to let it rule me. Not right now. Not with everything on the line. With a furious glance, Callum turns to confront me. "Remain near me. Please remain by my side no matter what." With my throat too tight to speak, I nod. Even though I can't stand to think about what may happen if we don't get out of here, the desire in his eyes chills me. My heart's beating is the solitary sound in the now deadly silent forest. Every muscle in my body is stiff and prepared for whatever is going to happen as we wait. Then, suddenly, the trees begin to throw shadows. A pack of wolves, their snarling fangs showing, their eyes glittering in the last of the light. They appear to be savoring the time before the assault as they slowly circle us while growling low and menacingly. Callum's body twists with tension as I feel his arm tighten over me. Though I can see the dread in his eyes, he is prepared to combat. This isn't just any threat. It's a well-thought-out and carefully planned ambush. Callum growls and makes a little step forward to protect me, adding, "Stay behind me." Although he is passionately protective, the peril we confront cannot be hidden. The wolves close in, snarling louder and more furiously. I'm attempting to control my breathing as my hands tremble and my heart beats. I must retain my composure. I can't permit fear to govern me. But as the first wolf lunges in our direction, the pack is halted in its tracks by a second, piercing howl that resonates from the distance. As soon as they arrive, the wolves vanish into the darkness after stopping and peering in the direction of the sound. They vanish in a matter of seconds, leaving us standing in the clearing, gasping and terrified. "What on earth just took place?" With a trembling voice, I whisper. Callum's countenance is gloomy as he looks around the trees, his eyes narrowing. With a hint of rage in his voice, he murmured, "That was a warning. Whoever is responsible for this is not done. They have barely just started. There is a danger. Furthermore, the adversary is closer than we expected. Betrayal from within." As we push ourselves harder and faster, the trees in the forest mix around us as we run through it. My face stings from the wind and my heart beats in sync with our motions. I have a nagging feeling that something isn't quite right. It goes beyond the animals that nearly attacked us or the writing on the tree. This seems deeper and more personal. I look at Callum, who has a hard-lined face and eyes that are set on the future. Even from a distance, I can feel the stress in the air as the pack house comes into view. There is a problem. As we get closer, Callum slows down and tightens his hold on my hand, so he must feel it too. Callum's dad, Hunter, is standing at the entry with his arms crossed across his chest. Normally, he is quite cool and controlled, but right now he is acting differently. His jaw is locked as he watches us come closer, his face blank. Unease makes my stomach turn over. Callum shouts, "Hunter!" as we stop in front of him. His voice is quiet and deep, yet it has a sharp edge that makes me shudder. "What's happening?" Hunter turns and gives me a quick look before turning back to Callum. His pause, which seems to be an attempt to find the right words, quickens my pace. Hunter adds in a strained voice, "Alpha, there's something you need to know." Something flickers in his eyes, hesitancy? Feeling guilty? Whatever it is, it's giving me the idea that the earth is going to fall beneath us. Callum's body tenses up. His eyes narrow at his beta as he takes a step forward. "What is it?" Now his tone is harder, with frustration scarcely held. Being kept in the dark worries him, especially when the stakes are this high. Hunter inhales heavily while looking to make sure no one else is close. My blood runs cold at the look on his face, so I go reflexively forward. "Callum?" Putting a calming palm against his arm. "There's a big problem." Hunter's words, which are just heard above a whisper, "There's been a traitor in the pack," struck me as a kick to the belly. For months now, the world seems to be spinning under my feet, and my heart flutters in my breast. A traitor? Within the group? My thoughts are racing as I try to understand the importance of what he said. Someone has been providing our enemies with information, betraying Callum, betraying us all. What? With fear squeezing my throat, I managed to whisper, "How is that even possible?" Hunter's face is gloomy as he looks at me. That's accurate, he says. We've been keeping an eye on conversations, and it's definitely obvious that there has been information leaking from inside. All of our choices and acts have been sent to our enemies. I feel as though I'm out of breath. A cold sweat forms on the back of my neck, and my heart is racing. Who? I look from Hunter to Callum and mutter, who would act in this way? Anger flashes in Callum's eyes as his face gets darker. With a deep growl in his voice, he takes a step toward Hunter. Who? He asks again, in a tone of hardly controlled rage. Hunter stops, briefly dropping his eyes to the floor. It's enough to send a rush of fear pouring over me. That pause, that stop. Like a storm on the edge of blowing, I can feel the stress building in the atmosphere. Hunter finally raises his head to look at Callum. His voice is strained as he says, it's someone close. Someone we wouldn't have thought of. A rush of sickness rises in my throat. And my stomach turns into knots. This isn't possible. Someone near Callum? Someone we could rely on? Callum's whole body radiates barely controlled anger as he folding his hands at his sides. With a deep, threatening growl, he says, who? Hunter gives me a quick glance before avoiding his eyes once more, as though the words are too difficult to say aloud. At last, he says, his voice just above a whisper, it's Mia. I don't comprehend for a second. I don't understand. It seems as though time has stopped moving and the world has ceased to rotate. Mia? No, that isn't possible. My friend, our friend, has been Mia. She has helped us during every step. The enemy cannot be her. What? With a shaky voice, I whisper. No, there must be an error. Hunter, but stays silent. He doesn't have to. I can tell everything I need to know by the look on his face. Nothing is wrong. There isn't any misunderstanding. Our enemies have been getting information from Mia. Callum's face contorts into a mask of rage as his eyes get even darker. His chest rises and falls with each weak breath, and his breathing is heavy. His jaw muscles are tensing up, and I can see the barely controlled anger bubbling beneath the surface. Mia? His name drips with poison as he growls. How was she able to? I take a step forward and shake my head. I shake as I answer, no, Hunter, you're wrong. Mia would never act in this way. She refused to. Hunter replies quietly, I'm not wrong, with sorrow in his eyes. We have proof, but I wish I were. It's her. I feel like I'm about to get sick, and the world seems to be spinning around me. Is Mia, my sister and friend in this pack, the traitor? That isn't fair. Nothing makes sense. I can feel the rage coming from Callum as his hands ball into fists. His voice is low and threatening as he screams, Where is she? Hunter stops, apparently unsure about Callum's answer. He says, She's at the pack house. She is unaware that we have discovered her yet. Callum inhales deeply and narrows his eyes as he takes it all in. I can see the anger that has been rising inside of him ever since we saw the statement etched on that tree. The last straw is this betrayal, Mia's deceit. Callum growls, his voice full of icy resolve, We're going to confront her. She will also tell us everything. My heart aches from a mix of humiliation and incredulity as I swallow hard. I'd rather not believe it. The idea that Mia could have done this and betrayed us in this way is not something I want to think about. But I can't avoid the truth that is staring me in the face. My mind is racing with thoughts and feelings as we head toward the pack house. I remember every moment of fun and friendship that Mia and I had experienced together. How was she able to do this? Considering everything we've been through together, how could she betray us? Betray me? I give Callum a quick look. His eyes are fixed on the sky, and his mouth is set. I can see the hurt he's trying so hard to hide beneath his rage, the pain in his face. Not only has Mia betrayed the pack, but she has also betrayed Callum's faith in her. Furthermore, that is a deep hurt. The reality of what is going to happen falls heavy on my shoulders as we arrive at the packhouse's door. Callum stops, looks at me, and looks into my eyes. With a softer tone now, he says, I need you to remain calm. We will beat this, no matter what, together. Despite feeling as though my heart is being squeezed in a vice, I nod. Although I'm not sure how we'll handle this, I have faith in Callum. I always have. Tension fills the air as we enter the pack house together. As we walk down the hallway, my pulse beating in my ears and my heart pounding. Mia is somewhere within, unaware to the coming storm that will hit her. My legs feel like lead as we get closer to the common room door. I have 1,000 thoughts running through my head, but one sticks out above the others. Why? How come Mia would do this? What would make her turn on us? Mia is sitting by the fire as Callum pushes the door open. Her eyes are wide with surprise as she stares up at us, but someone who has been caught isn't surprised by it. It's a surprise to someone who never thought we would face her in this way. The stress is so great that it is hard to breathe. The room becomes quiet. Mia, Callum says in a hard, icy tone, we must speak. I understand then that there is no going back, unmasking the traitor. I stand motionless, looking at Mia with my heart beating in my chest. Could it truly be the friend who had always backed me and fought beside me through so much? Was she an enemy to us? I'm trying to piece together all the times that now seem like lies and my mind is rushing, but I'm not going to believe it until I get word from her. Is it true, Mia? I mumble, my voice wavering. Her eyes suddenly meet mine, and I realize something I hadn't previously noticed. Shame. Her eyes are filled with sorrow, and it's written all over her face. The pain of deceit pierces me more deeply than any hurt. I move back with shaking hands as my breath catches in my throat. At first, she stays quiet, opening and shutting her mouth as though she's trying to find the right words. The stress in the room tightens like a noose around my neck, and the quiet between us is startling. Mia, I repeat, my voice breaking under the force of my feelings. Tell me that's untrue. Unable to look me in the eyes, she slouches her shoulders and looks at the floor. Her voice trembles with the weight of her statement, barely rising above a whisper when she finally speaks. Aurora, it's not what you think. I had no other choice. The shock is replaced by a furious demand for answers as I feel a wave of rage. No option? I say it again, louder this time. You were forced to turn on us? To turn on me? My eyes start to brim up with tears, but I blink them away. I can't show her how much this pains me. I can't explain to her how much she has hurt me. Before I can continue, Callum moves forward, his angry face hard. His hands are folded at his sides, and his jaw tightens. His defensive sense is screaming to life, and I can feel the fire radiating off him. In addition to his anger, I can see the pain in his eyes. This betrayal affects the entire pack, not just us. It's intimate. Mia, why? Callum's voice resembles a low growl, threatening and filled with controlled fury. He sounds like he's barely controlling his dog because his words are short. What made you do that? Mia winces, but she takes a moment to react. Rather than looking at Callum, she bites her lip and turns her attention to the floor. His rage is further heightened by her silence. He repeats, his voice shaking with grief. You betrayed us. You fooled me. You misled her. I can see the hurt beneath his anger as his eyes quickly shift to me. Mia inhales deeply, her shoulders shaking. Her voice breaks as she says, I didn't want to. Callum, you must believe me. I never meant to betray you. I have no desire to cause harm to anybody. But what? I ask in a stern tone. Mia, you didn't have to do this. You had the opportunity to visit us. You could have told us. With her voice shaking, Mia interrupts. They would have killed me. They would have killed us all. Her opinions grow big and intimidating in the atmosphere. For a short time, I can see the real, bone-deep fear in her eyes as my heart lurches. She was afraid for all of us, not just for herself. But that doesn't lessen the hurt caused by the deception. They? Callum asks in a strangely calm tone. Mia, who are they? Mia stops, looking over her shoulder as though she thinks there could be someone hiding in the darkness. I can see the fear building in her as her eyes dart around the room. She takes a deep breath before starting. Bennett and Greta aren't the only ones. Someone else, someone more powerful, is out there. They are the ones pulling the strings, but I have no idea who they are. I was forced to betray you by them. The ground seems to have been torn out from under me. One more adversary? An extra danger that we were unaware of? I hold on to Callum's arm for support as my head spins. Something in Mia's voice tells me she's talking the truth, even though I don't want to believe it. But Callum is not convinced. His body is tight and ready to leap, and his eyes narrow. You think we'll believe that? He growls. That you were merely a pawn in a bigger scheme? That you were helpless over what you did? The tears well up in Mia's eyes. Callum, you must believe me. I had no other choice. They were frightening not only me, but all of us. Had I not given them the knowledge, they would have killed us all. I'm at a loss for what to believe. My heart feels like it's being split in two and my head is pounding. I want to believe Mia on the one hand. I would like to think that she felt driven to do this and had no other choice. Conversely, though, how can I ever have faith in her again? How am I supposed to forgive this? Callum approaches her with a step, his voice low and threatening. If you're telling lies, I'm telling the truth. With fear showing in her eyes, Mia steps back as her voice breaks. Callum, please. None of this is what I ever wanted. A thick and suffocating silence falls upon us. Callum is having a hard time controlling his anger, and his hands are folded at his sides. The weight of everything that has just been made public is pressing down on us, and I can feel the stress in the air. You can't take it all in at once. I take a shaky breath and move forward to stand next to Callum. In an attempt to bring us both back to the present, I stretch my hand and touch his arm. With my voice just above a whisper, I continue. We need to think about this. We must determine the obstacles we face. The hardness in Callum's eyes softens for a minute as he turns to face me. His jaw stays tight as he nods, but I can tell he's trying to control his rage for my benefit. Mia is standing there, her body shaking under the weight of her shame, her face stressed and pale. She looks over her shoulder once again, as though she's waiting for someone or something to show up. With my heart beating in my chest, I follow her stare. Mia, I say, keeping my calm in spite of the fear that is eating at me. What do you fail to tell us? What do you not say? After a prolonged break, Mia finally talks, her voice hardly audible above a whisper. Because they would kill us all if I didn't betray you, she answers, her eyes wide with fear. My last surviving spark of trust is suddenly broken. Secrets and lies. Mia's revelation hovers in the air, suffocating and weighty. Her words are so weighty that they shake me from the bottom of my heart. Every time my heart beats, it feels like a hammer striking my ribs in my chest. The world appears to have stopped revolving, and all I can think of is her, the person I trusted, the companion I assumed I knew, now standing in front of me as a traitor. I ask the query that has been burning in my brain, swallowing hard, my throat parched, my voice barely a whisper. Who are they? I can scarcely get the words out before they tremble. Who is in charge of everything? Mia stops, fear and guilt jumbled together in her eyes. She can't keep my eyes on her, so she looks aside. Her shoulders slump as if she is finally being crushed by the weight of her treachery. With a shaky voice, she says, I don't know their true identity. But Aurora, they're powerful. Behind the scenes, they have been doing this for a long, and their purpose. Her voice falters as she drifts off. What is it? I push, going closer because I need explanation and to realize the horror we've been pushed into. What are they seeking? When Mia does glance up, her eyes are filled with grief and dread. Her voice is heavy with anguish as she replies, They want you gone, Aurora. And they will do whatever it takes to make that happen. Her statements give me the shivers. The situation's reality is seeping in, forcing my gut to knot uncomfortably. This goes beyond a basic power struggle among the pack members. This is a darker, bigger object, and everything revolves around me. But why? I mumble, not so much to her as to myself. Why me? Callum comes forward before Mia has a chance to answer, his former wrath morphing into determination. I see the fire, the strong protectiveness that has always been there in his eyes when they meet mine. He will not allow me to incur any damage. I am aware of it. With a forceful and powerful voice, Callum vows, We'll protect you. He looks to Mia, his face stiffening slightly. But we must be completely informed. Every small thing. No more lies or secrets. We must be ready if we expect to battle this. Mia nods, her face pale with regret. As if ready herself for what she is about to say, she inhales deeply. Her voice is scarcely discernible above a whisper as she says, I don't know much. They are careful and secretive. All I've experienced are their intermediaries. Callum, I have no clue who is genuinely responsible for this, but they are all over the place. In each pack, they have spies that report back to them. This has been in the works for a long. The air is oppressive and thick, and the room seems like it's closing in on me. Spies? Everywhere? I make an attempt to absorb her words, but it's too much. How could this be happening in front of us? How could we have missed it? And why me? I repeat the inquiry in a louder, more urgent tone. With me, what do they want? How did I win their attention? With tears in her eyes, Mia shakes her head. Her voice quivers as she says, I don't know. I only know that they consider you a risk. They want you to step aside. The weight of this understanding makes me feel as if I'm suffocating and drowning. None of this was asked of me. I never wanted to get engaged in a power struggle or any type of grandiose plot. All I wanted was to fit in and find a safe spot in this world. And now everything is unraveling. We require a strategy, Callum says, jolting me out of my trance. His words are addressed at me as well, but his eyes are riveted on Mia. We have to be prepared if they are targeting Aurora. We must not allow them to surprise us. Mia wipes away a tear that rolls down her face and nods. I'll assist, she whispers. After everything I've done, I owe you that much. I will aid you in defeating them. With his arms clasped over his chest, Callum maintains a focused look. Mia, he answers icily, you're going to have to do a lot more than just help to earn back our trust. But for the time being, we'll use any advantage we can. With my heart still racing, but with a rising feeling of determination, I take a step forward. I say confidently, we'll face this together. We shall struggle against anything comes our way. We must. Callum's eyes soften for a minute as he look at me. In order to anchor me and let me know I'm not alone in this, he reaches out and grabs my hand. We'll overcome this, he says quietly as he lightly squeezes my hand. I swear. Mia is ready to continue when there is a massive crash that reverberates throughout the pack house. My heart skips a beat, panicked, and the walls quiver. Callum's eyes flicker toward the door as his grasp on my hand tightens. What on earth was that? With a shaky voice, I whisper. Callum's body stiffens as his instincts for protection take control. Stay behind me, he orders in a hushed voice. With his posture straight and prepared for whatever happens next, he is already making his way toward the entrance. Mia's eyes widen in dread as her face becomes pale. She backs away from the door as if it may suddenly burst open and gasps, They're here. They've located us? My breath freezes in my throat as a chill creeps down my spine. My whole existence urges me to leave and hide, but I am powerless to do so. Not right now. Not when we're on the point of everything breaking apart. Callum's jaw hardens as he glances back at me. Despite the mayhem outside, he says in a calm voice, Stay close. The number of them is unknown to us. We must act swiftly. The door breaks open before we can travel another foot, and we see many intruders pouring into the room. As I attempt to absorb what's occurring, my mind rushes and my body goes inert. With furious eyes, Callum pushes ahead of me to shield me from the attackers. He cries, Get back! In a voice so authoritative that it is hard to dispute with him. But the invaders continue. They continue to creep forward, their poisonous glare fixated on us. The air in the room is thick with the prospect of violence, and I can feel the tension mounting. Callum! My voice is filled with terror as I yell. His eyes are full of resolve as he turns to face me. With a calm but strong tone, he asserts, I won't let them take you, Aurora. I'll protect you. Regardless, the room explodes into mayhem as the invaders close in. The closest one is hit by Callum, who moves fast and deadly. The sound of fists and growls fills the air as I watch in terror as they collide. We race to safety, and Mia grabs my arm and pulls me back. She cries, We have to hide, in a scared tone, but I am immovable. My head is racing, and my legs are frozen. I am unable to forsake Callum. I can't simply escape while he protects me. No, I say with a head shake. I won't abandon him. Before Mia can argue, the pack house bursts in yet another tremendous smash, and everything goes black. The war is not yet done.